What up, everybody? One of the new characters who will be introduced in Ghost Season 4 is Detective Don Carter, who will be played by Michael Ealy. The description says, Ealy will portray Detective Don Carter, a rising NYPD officer who is on track to become police commissioner until his wife was killed in a crossfire between rival drug gangs. Vowing to make the streets safer, Carter traded in his tie for a Kevlar vest and now leads an elite NYPD drug task force that elicits concrete results against drug-related violence. While his achievements are noteworthy public recognition, nothing can bring back his lost love. The first question I ask is, who killed Detective Carter's wife? This being the Power universe and all, a lot of characters and storylines are tied in together. So with that being said, could the Tejadas, the GTG gang, or one of the gangs going back to OG Power be involved in Detective Carter's wife's death? The next question concerning Detective Carter's wife is, when was she actually killed? Meaning, how long has it been? Was the murder of Detective Carter's wife on the Book 2 timeline, or is it predating Book 2 and going back to OG Power? It's been a little over 2 years in the timeline from where Power finished to where we are currently in Ghost at the end of Season 3. This is without knowing what kind of time jump there will be going into Season 4. But with that being said, since he's already changed jobs and everything, I'm thinking this goes back to OG Power. Possibly could get into GTG's backstory, or even Kane or somebody else like Kai from Ghost before we were introduced to the character. It would definitely be crazy if Kane was somehow involved in her death back in the day when he was younger. I also asked the question, is Don Carter connected to any of the current characters from Ghost? My most likely candidate is Rashad Tate, who used to work for the police department before becoming a politician. Since Don Carter was on his way to becoming police commissioner, it's almost guaranteed that they know of each other. Could Tate possibly have dirt on Carter from before his wife was killed and before he got serious about fighting crime? With that said, did Don Carter and his wife have any children together before she died? As a police officer and being a single father, this could be a potential weakness. If you watch BMF, you've seen a similar situation with Detective Bryant and with his son being his biggest weakness. Getting me to the question, how big of a threat is Detective Don Carter? Will he end up replacing Cooper Saxe and be a thorn in everyone's side? Or will he end up being more like Greg Knox and being a complete problem? Because Greg Knox was a whole other monster compared to Cooper Saxe. And I've already said in prior videos that the death of Saxe might only bring in 7 more devils to deal with. And we already know Angela's nephew's going to be a problem too. One more question to look at concerning Don Carter is, will he be working with Jenny Sullivan, Blanca, or Junior? Because it will be one thing if he already has all the info that they have, or will he be starting his investigation from ground zero? With that being said, Blanca Rodriguez started out as a sergeant at the local police department before getting promoted to the DEA, so she could also know Detective Carter as well. One thing about it is he is only the local police and not on the level of DEA or like Greg Knox, who was FBI. So if he becomes too big of a problem, Congressman Tate should be able to use his power to shut down the operation. That is, of course, if he was going after Tariq. But I think that the Tejadas may be his target. But this is where who he knows and what he knows becomes very important. Remember, his weakness is his inability to stop mourning his dead wife. Power Law 33 says, discover each man's thumbscrew. We already know that Monet is a master at the game of power, so she could use this to her advantage. She could also act like she wants to find Lorenzo's killer as a way to connect with Detective Carter. Power Law 43 says to work on the hearts and minds of others. And Power Law 12 says to use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. She could get close to Detective Carter and possibly try to fill the void of his dead wife. I believe that these two will meet in the hospital, probably as Monet is recovering and ready to check out. Detective Carter will talk to Monet and ask about if she saw who shot her. From that point, Monet and Detective Carter will connect and become lovers. But that could turn out to be very dangerous for Detective Carter, because all of Monet's lovers end up dead. In Ghost Season 1, Lorenzo was locked up and Monet was having an affair with a cop named Detective Ramirez. Detective Ramirez kept overstepping his boundaries with Kane and kept trying to act like his daddy and ended up getting killed by Kane. This was the one lover that Monet might actually truly have feelings for, because she was very pissed off when she found out about this. At the same time, she was using him for police protection. So she was more likely more mad about losing that than actually having feelings for Ramirez. Then her long-lost baby daddy, Dante Spears, stepped into the scene. He was playing a dangerous game, trying to live a double life. Plus, when he found out that he was Zeke's father, he purposely ruined his chance at the NBA by reporting Zeke's true age to the press. So with that said, Monet killed Mecca herself, leaving Lorenzo, who just recently got out of prison, as Monet's only lover. But he killed Zeke on accident and lied about it for months. So because of that, Monet set up Lorenzo, her husband, and the father of her other 3 children to die. Not only that, but she pretended to like Kai, only to have him killed also. So with all that said, could Don Carter and Monet fall in love for real? Could this be a similar situation to Ghost and Angela? Monet might could even hide what she's really all about from Detective Carter, all while he is investigating a series of crimes that all tie back to Monet. We could see another game of cat and mouse like we saw with Ghost and Angela. Sticking with Ghost and Angela, Ghost was trying to get out the game the whole time they were pursuing a relationship, but kept finding himself back into the life. After getting shot and almost killed, will Monet be ready to get out of the life? She was already about to get out the life in Season 2 when she thought Zeke was going to the NBA. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.